Yeah, it's your boy Flair. What's up? We back.
I think we got a special guest in here today, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, we do. We got a special guest.
You know, you gotta let the people know who it is. I ain't gonna introduce you. You gotta do that yourself.
Okay. So, Angel Radcliffe. Everybody on social media knows me as Miss RMBA. Financial educator, business strategist. Joining you guys tonight.
She know how to get the bag, guys. She know how to get the bags. It's very important.
Keep the bag and grow the bag.
Yeah.
Yes, and grow it and mature it. Plant it like a seed.
You know, we can't always give y'all the ratchetness.
Yeah, we got to get serious
You know,
sometimes,
we gotta enlighten y'all sometimes too, you know, and enlighten ourselves in the process.
Yeah, we are in one of the
Man.
top, fastest growing markets down here.
And we do know a lot of y'all broke. It's not, you ain't got to be ashamed of nothing like that.
Right. We still, we got double jobs, triple
We
jobs.
works in progress.
And we
in
right
here,
there
you know
with
what I'm saying?
And we in the struggle with you.
Right.
So, man, you know, I always feel like that's, you know, that's one of the shortcomings of us as a people, you know, is that I feel like our financial literacy can always be enhanced. You know, I feel like we always kind of look at things on the surface and don't look at the long game. So,
And it's
First-
good to have an open dialogue. Like I think we as a culture, we don't have that that open dialogue. As I met Angel, wow, what 4 years ago, 3
years ago.
and she always had that same energy. Like some people coming where I'm coming from, you gotta crawl, rake leaves, cut grass, just to get a tidbit of information on how you can stack money or get an insight on how to get ahead. Where she was like, no, this information's free. You can do these small things, you know what I'm saying, change your appearance, change your tone, change your resume up, you know, and it was just overflowing information that a person like myself coming from a small town, small state, you know, I was just like, wow, you know, but that just described who she is. She done built a brand.
right.
I remember she started on Periscope and
Oh,
she just
Lord.
no, but she just took that leap and she was just like, hey guys, this is Miss RMBA, what's up? And she was just going, you know what I'm saying, just, oh yeah, this and this, and went from Periscope to then she went back to Instagram, and now she writes for Black Enterprise. She interviewed, actually, and this is the thing about it, she interviewed Susan
bro. Okay.
Oman.
We gonna let her
Susie
tell.
Orman.
We gonna let her tell her background.
All right, all right.
I feel
So-
like, you know, we want to let the people know who we got in here in the studio. So give us a little bit of background on you.
Go
where you
ahead,
from.
girl. Your AB
Background.
selection.
Oh gosh. So in relation to finance, so the passion for
No,
financial.
first just let us know where you're from. You know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm originally from Illinois, Chicago. I went to school in Central Illinois, Illinois State University,
Okay.
and then found my way to Dallas.
How
Wow.
long you been in Dallas?
I've been here for 10 years.
Are you a Texan?
Oh, no, I'm not.
Oh, after 5 years,
Never.
you're a Texan?
Never.
That's crazy.
So I've been here for 10 years. Like the first few years, I hated Dallas. Like Dallas is okay now, but it's like the place to be. It's economically friendly. Real estate's growing here. The job market as well. But it's not up and coming or as hot as cities like Houston, D.C., New York. So.
Shout out to the H.
Or Chicago. hey,
Or
hold on now.
Chicago.
Or Chicago now. Like, I love the shot.
So you strictly basically you being in Dallas is a strictly professional.
It is. It's not my final destination.
Oh, it's not.
No.
If you could live anywhere, what would it be?
Ooh, New York. But New
New
York
York.
isn't expensive.
New York is
So
dirty
if cost
too.
wasn't an issue, I'd live in New York.
New York is dirty. I was in New York 2 years.
I love New York.
I love New York as a place, but I can't do it for more than 2-3 years.
DC is another option, but DC is expensive.
All of that's expensive. We get spoiled down here. In the South. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We look at what you can get up there. You get an ice box for $3,200 a month.
I done thought about making that move a couple times, and I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Hey,
That-
I mean, Lord knows, every time I go smell that Chicago air and get that energy, I be like, man, I can get a building and I can do this and then you come back to Texas, you be like,
I'm comfortable.
November, 75 degrees.
you see
You know-
trees and shit.
Right. Everything flat, not a lot of traffic jam. But I'm sorry. So what was after you moved here, what was your first what brought you here? You said just like you just
So moving to Dallas, and this is really crazy. It sounds okay. So we graduate from college. You guys talked about being a minority and not really being in the know on financial literacy. A lot of minorities are not really in the know as far as their track for their career. And so I was one of those minorities where it was more like instill, like go to college, get a good job. But no one in my family had ever been to college. So no one could guide me properly. And so I went to college, got a job. It wasn't like the job I wanted. It was in human resources. Hated my job. And I'm just like going to work every day. And I'm like, I don't understand. I'm like, what's my purpose? What should I be doing? This is not what I went to school for. And it was not the amount of money that I thought I was going to be making, like coming out of college.
Right.
So I had a cousin who lived here, came to visit them. It was blizzard in Illinois, December, January, 85 degrees here in Dallas. And I was like, I'm moving to Dallas.
Wow.
So I went back, quit my job, like literally like put my 2 weeks notice in and packed up, moved to Dallas with no job.
So are you like a wanderlust? Like, are you one of those people who just steps out on it, like, you know, fuck it, I'm doing it. Like, this is what it is.
You know,
I can agree with that. Like watching.
I'm a little bit of a risk taker.
I watched,
Quit a few jobs.
In 48 hours, I watched on Instagram go from, she went from Oklahoma City to DC to New York. All in like 48 hours. Like,
So you got to catch you in traffic.
yeah.
You got to catch me. Yeah.
So, you know, so what do you do here in Dallas? Like, you know, exactly as far as, you know, exactly what is your business here in Dallas? Okay.
So my company is CAS Consultants. And so, as I said, I'm a business strategist. We work to empower entrepreneurs through financial management. So teaching entrepreneurs more so how to create their business plan or creating it for them, teaching them the importance of tracking their revenues and expenses. So walking them through the different systems, processes, and then how to actually legitimize their business. So you have a lot of entrepreneurs who are calling out, oh, I'm an entrepreneur, but they don't have an EIN number, a DUNS number. They haven't registered their business. And then when it comes down to, I don't even want to get into the business card thing. How many times y'all met somebody and they don't have a business card and they're like, oh, I have a business. Yeah. But then getting into like the financial side, there's so many people who forget to separate personal from business. So teaching them, you know, you need to have a business account and then how to build business credit from there. And on the consumer side, dealing with financial literacy, so budget and credit workshops, teaching consumers how to actually create a budget, manage it, reducing their expenses, build their savings, and so forth.
I think what it is, though, because, like, honestly, I feel like we don't take advantage of those resources enough, like the resources you offer.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think a lot of times is we have this instilled in us to just figure it out. You know,
we do.
Wow.
And even as entrepreneurs, like we want to know everything, right? And we're like, oh, I don't need help. Yeah. Even when I first started out, I didn't know everything about starting a business. I was like, I got it under control. Like I went online, I looked at this book. Sometimes you need someone to guide you. You need a mentor, or you need to build your network of people you can reach out to for help. And it's okay to ask for help. But when it comes down to the financial part, I always tell people, if you have a business and you're going to be an entrepreneur, it all reverts back to your personal finances. You have to have your personal finances in order before you can run a business. So think about it. If your personal bank account is always in the negative, you're getting overdraft fees.
wake up on a Tuesday morning. Everything you did on the weekend got a $35.
You like, man, you spent what the first part of your Saturday morning trying to argue with the lady on the phone.
That's a badass.
You know how debilitating it is for a $3 purchase to cost you $38 because of the $35 NSF fee.
Yeah. What's fucked up is when you see the first one go through, and you would try to think about all the other ones that's about to hit that motherfucker.
Boom, boom, boom,
oh,
boom. You like,
Hey man, I called my bank one time, damn near in tears. I went to bed, I had about $138 a day. Woke up -4. I'm like, how the hell? Like, and it was like transaction for $1.38 that cost me $35 because I got the NSL.
And just key thing to tell you about that is they more lenient on your personal account, but if you got like I got a business account, and one time like you use your business account for expenses, and you probably can go and more in depth with that. And one time I used it for something like I put certain amount of money in there to pay something, and I think like it was $1 over or something. Man, they hit me with a $35, and they was like, "No, on a business, they do not." They like, "Nope, it's a business. You should." It's like they give you that mental, like you should understand how to run a business. Yep. We're not finna take that $35 fee off.
And banks are not as lenient with business banking. They'll shut your account down.
Yes.
So you have to understand how to manage your money, make sure you're not spending more than your revenue, and so that's where I come in.
Right.
So what made you just take that leap from like a regular corporate job or whatever to like, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna work for myself and I'm gonna be okay with it?
So, gosh, I think I've always been an entrepreneur from a young age. I was
always hustling from a child.
I was gonna say I've always been a hustler, like trying to find out where can I get some money from. And my mama wasn't gonna give it to me. Like, how can I make some money? And so, it all started with like babysitting. I think every teenager has done like babysitting, and then in college, like I was doing hair, I was doing people's weave. And then I started my first business in college. I was preparing taxes because I was like so good at accounting.
In college?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I started out majoring in accounting, and I was like, oh, I'm going to be an accountant. I didn't know what I wanted to be. And so after a while, I was like, oh, I don't really want to be an accountant. But I was preparing people's taxes because no one really knows how to file their taxes properly. And that was like my business, like for the first half of the year, filing taxes.
Right. Quick stat right now, only 3 million people out of 100 million people right now, only 3 million people file their own taxes still. It's still, it's like 97 million people still go to someone else.
Taxes all the time.
I still got to file my taxes this year.
Damn.
Hey,
don't judge me.
hey, no. This is why she's here. This is why she's here.
I'm not the one that's gonna judge.
I got like 8 days. I got like 4 days, 6 days to make it happen.
Oh yeah, it is October 15th.
Hey, you don't want them judging your ass.
Oh shit.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you FYI, they ain't finna show no leniency on you. They finna show you from April 15th to October. If you didn't do your right amendment, they finna stick you how much, like if you owe them 1,000 plus about another.
This
2.
the shit they don't tell you about when you 16 wanting to be an adult. You know what I'm saying?
It is. And high school doesn't prepare you for being financially responsible.
Right.
So as I was saying, started that business in college, and that was my business, preparing taxes. Then I got into more credit repair. Mm-hmm. And so I learned a lot at an early age about credit because I think we've all had that family member who used your social security number.
Wow. Wow.
Got the light bill in your name or something.
I was 8 when I got my first light bill.
You got your first light bill.
I had
You had a beard at 8 too.
Like, hey, I got the college trying to get my lights turned on. It was like, hey, hold up.
You owe us some
You
money.
on Encore.
Wait, what? They like, when was this from? 1996. I was 10.
So, I learned about credit at an early age because people had misused my information, and I'm trying to build credit in college. All my friends had credit cards. I was like the only friend in my group who didn't have a credit card, and I couldn't get credit because I had bad credit and I had never done anything with my credit. So I started learning like what to do to get the things off of my credit, and so that eventually became a part of that particular business, credit repair, and it was very profitable. And now. This was many, many years ago. But
what, 2005, 2006, 2000? No. I remember that wave.
Uh-huh.
I remember that wave. But as the circle back, they didn't want to teach me.
Right.
They just took my money
right.
and was like, I can do it for you.
Exactly.
And then I had to learn, like after the wave left, and I'm researching it myself, like, oh.
Like, I can do this on my own.
Yep.
And so as I became like more aware of myself and my purpose, then I was like, I don't really want to do credit repair because the consumer's not learning. It's like a freebie for them, and then they're going to turn around 1 year later and mess their credit back up again. No, seriously. And then they're going to need help again. So I've always been very involved in the community and wanting to give back and help people. So I was like, okay, instead of me charging people to fix their credit, I can just teach them how to do it on their own. And that's how I really got into volunteering, like with financial literacy workshops and involved in nonprofit. And the original question was managing like business in corporate. So I've always done both. I've always been in corporate America and had a business, eventually went to consulting 2012, like started my own consulting business from my corporate experience. And what was I doing? Gosh.
Time goes.
God,
Especially
that's
when
a
you're
lot
doing a
ago.
lot.
So I started my corporate career in finance, corporate reporting. So then on the small business side, I was helping small businesses more so manage like their reporting. And then it evolved into branding myself in 2015 into live streaming, and branding was such a big thing. And I always looked online. I'm like, how do you brand yourself? I'm like, what do you do? Because I didn't know anything about marketing. And I'm like, well, what do I do? And I quit my job, first 6-figure job, 2015. And everybody wants to get to that point. You have that 6-figure job. And there's this saying, like, the grass is not always greener on the other side. And I made the leap from working with one company and went to like a $30,000 raise, $20,000 bonus. And I hated the company. Hated it. And I was like, you know what? I learned the importance that money is not everything.
Oh my God.
Or was it? And that's a good point. Was it just at that time that your body, your mind, your soul needed a recharge? Because listening to you now, like listening to where you got up to, and you was like, I was doing this, I was doing this, I was doing this. And even though you was right there, maybe that's when you needed that recharge, that you had to like take a step back and you had to move away from, like you say, money's not everything, and get what you wanted, you know, in order.
Well, hindsight, looking back, it was I needed a break because I was always like so active, involved in organizations and having a business and in corporate. And I had like some family stuff that was going on around the same time. My mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. It was like really overwhelming. And but at the same time, like I didn't like what I was doing. I felt like I was hired under false pretenses.
Right.
And I was like, anybody else would not complain. They're like, oh, I'm like coasting. I got a free ride, you know. And I've always been the person like, I want to learn. Like, I need something challenging. And I'm like, I want to do this. So risk taker I am. Sat in Starbucks one morning, wrote my resignation letter.
All right. How was your feeling when you writing your resignation letter? Because, all right, did you put in a 2-week notice?
I gave them a 2-week notice. I did give them a 2-week notice, but I didn't stay the full 2 weeks.
You want to know somebody petty? Your supervisor, your direct supervisor, after you give them a 2-week notice, they don't want to speak to you.
Hey, man.
Oh, I got the silent treatment. I got the silent treatment.
I can tell y'all a story about
And
it.
so-
One time I quit a job. That shit did not go well.
Why?
Okay, so you know what I do. I'm in software.
Right.
So I'm in a meeting with my boss one day, and he going over like the plan for like the next 6 months,
Right.
and like he telling me basically what I'm finna do for work. I'm like, it's some bullshit. So I was like, you know what, man, I quit.
You saying it right there.
Like when we talk, we was just in a regular meeting. I just said I quit. He's like, he kind of spit out his coffee. He's like, what? I was like, yeah, man, I think I quit. He's like, you got yeah. He was like, you got a new job? I was like, nah. I think I'm done though. So he was like, man, just go home for the rest of the day and think about this
Sleep
shit.
on it.
Yeah. So
Do you really want to quit?
yeah. So next day I come back, he like, so I was like, yeah, I still quit. So this motherfucker say, well, we got you planned for work for like the next 6 months to a year.
Oh man, you can't do that.
So he was like, can you please just kind of work with us, you know,
Like,
try to kind of train
phase out?
somebody. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll get somebody you can train to do what you do, and we'll phase you out. I was like, how much time you need? He was like, give us about 3 months. I was like, give me your projects. So I did this shit in like 2 weeks. so like, they hired this little white dude I was supposed to be training, but I ain't got no job at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm coming to work drunk, but we can drink in our job. I wasn't the only drunk motherfucker there, but so
They're all wrong.
yeah, so I'm not giving no fucks no more. So this motherfucker come in the office and he was like, you know what? We gonna let you go home for like the next 3 months, cause we said we was gonna pay you. But you know, you can just go home and you can chill. So I was on vacation for like 2.5 months, just at home, getting paid.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
true story.
Hey, that's that IT privilege right there. You know, when they know they need your ass, and you're not easily replaceable.
Yeah.
You can't do that shit when you work on the phones. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Hey, and I'm
When
sorry.
you reading the script,
Yeah,
hey
bro.
man, hey, everybody can't do that.
Man,
So, sat in Starbucks, wrote the resignation letter, put in my notice, quit. And I didn't really have a plan. It was just like, I need a break. I don't want to work for this company, but I didn't know what company I wanted to work for. So I literally like sat at my pool the entire summer. And
You needed that.
The same shit I was doing. That's the same
well, the
shit
thing
I
is, the money started to run out. I had a savings.
That's when you got to get a job.
I was like, wait a minute. My friends would come and visit me. They're like, how you still living this same lifestyle? You drive a luxury car. You live in a luxury apartment. I'm like, you know what? I don't know.
I budgeted. Motherfuckers don't realize that you can't live outside of check to check.
Hey, you know what made me realize I need a new job?
What?
I started like having friends that was like 20. You know what I'm saying?
Because everybody you really fool with at work.
Yeah, all my friends at work and shit. So I just know all these random motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, I gotta be responsible.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. I was out of work about 3 months. Like, I just didn't want to work. So I was
Hey,
no, I honestly believe every adult at some point in their life is gonna have a moment where they just don't want to get up and have to go to work.
Yep.
I think everyone will go through that phase.
Cause I just had to recharge, man. And so I started realizing, like, I'm going up to the gas station on a daily basis at 11. So the dude started to know me by name, know what I'm about to come in there and get. I'm starting to realize that I'm that nigga just sitting around here idle. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Just
nothing
old
going
boy.
on. But then after a while, I just woke up one day and felt like a bomb. And so I finally started fielding calls, and I'm like, I can't have too big of an employment gap. But unfortunately, I think we kind of programmed in a way. Like, a lot of people, I think the biggest thing that keeps people from stepping out and becoming their own boss or their own entrepreneur is the promise of a paycheck after a week or after 2 weeks.
It is.
And then
It's
benefits.
fear, right?
Benefits, like just paying for insurance.
I'm glad you said that, because one thing about the Dallas market is the real estate, of course, but where they're getting people is actually, I think I want to sit here from now on. This is a good mic. But anyway, where they get people is they build these extravagant buildings like the Toyota spot and Capital Ones, and we've been there. And you see these people, you see these women, you see these men. They don't even care about the chick. They'll come in at 8:00 a.m. 8:15, they're gonna log in. 8:15, they're gonna go right to the cafeteria, and they're gonna get a huge 16 to 17,000 calorie meal. I mean,
and they're gonna sit there and chop it up about their whole
right.
weekend for about 20 minutes.
20
You don't
minutes.
really get to work till 10.
But
you don't get
they
to work,
comfortable though.
but no,
Free
go back to
coffee
what
breaks.
you're saying. Go back to what you're saying. They getting comfortable with what they getting out of, Capital One or Toyota, but at the same time, it's at the end of the day when they lay them off, they back at square one.
But that's
You know
why
what I'm
I
saying?
really
They not using the resources wisely. Like like they don't. A lot of people don't even know that you can go in. Like right now, if you at Amazon and you want to learn about Amazon Web Service and you just on a factory line, you can just go right into My Learn.
They can do the university stuff.
The university, and they don't even know.
Most companies have a university platform where you can actually go in.
They
and
know where the
train.
bacon
I know
is.
at Capital One, you can go and train different jobs you wanted to have in the future.
Yeah, I do this shit all the time.
And so you just got to know where to find the resources. Like, I learned how to become a BA damn near on YouTube. And
Definitely.
just basically applying what I learned and working with
you can learn
analysts.
anything. You get a master's on YouTube.
Like, you literally learn how to write requirements, gather requirements.
Fix the
YouTube
transmission.
University.
Hey,
honestly,
that's
people don't
crazy.
realize,
That's
like-
crazy. So, like, when I got in information technology, I blew Flim ear up. I'm talking about every day, every 5 minutes. I'm talking about Xcode. I'm talking about SQL. I'm talking about Java, JavaScript. And he was like, man, he said, you're learning too much, man. You got to figure out where you're going to go.
I looked at SQL the first time because, they were like, you got to know this because I was in QA, and so I was working with business analysts on the daily. So I'm only in the part where they asking the questions, write down the requirements. I'm like, this is the functional part of the job. Well, I got that. I didn't know about the technical side. Like, I saw SQL for the first time. It looked like Greek. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, what the fuck going on here? and so I never forget, like, the worst thing is when you kind of fudge your resume. Meaning, like, instead of me being a QA analyst, I'm a compliance analyst. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't an underwriter for the last year. I was a compliance officer. You basically just, I want you to know that I'm in compliance. I mean, about basically like putting things and documenting things and project management. All that I had to dress it up. then I have to learn to talk to it. But then the worst thing and that make your ass get tight is when you go in there and they ask you to do something you ain't prepared for. So I never forget the first time I was in my first BA role and my boss came in and was like, "Hey, can you go in and create?" It was where they had all of the correspondence letters. They wanted a master sheet, and so you don't realize what all entailed in the computer. I didn't realize Microsoft Word had word tracking. Cause I only type shit up in there, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm looking over to somebody desk to the left of me. I'm like, my word ain't got all that shit on there. So I'm having to figure out like, how did she get that? Cause you don't want to ask about word tracker when you supposed to be a BA. Like, how you got the word tracker? Like that's like the base of your job. Is like,
better Google that shit, bro.
Right.
so I Googled.
Nigga, I Google my job every
I'm
fucking
sitting
day,
there.
bro.
Hey, I'm sitting there.
Google that shit,
My
man.
phone got the instructions up, sitting there, and I'm sitting there putting it in one by one. I'm just like figuring it out. I'm like, I bet they thought I was mildly retarded because I got it done. But I started to say, I think it's hard for you to really tap into your real work ethic when you're working for somebody, because your back's not against the wall.
It is.
You know, and so, but also you go into survival mode when you're trying to learn something, especially when you're banking on yourself and your own brand, your own company.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, if I don't get it, who's going to get it? You're not dependent on a company to write your check.
Mm-hmm.
So you felt like that was the hardest thing to transition into?
I wouldn't say it was the hardest thing. It was, like you said, survival mode. So once I quit my job and my money started to run out, I was like, what is my next step? And I literally got on Periscope. But Periscope's not so hot right now as it was in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Like y'all know Periscope live stream.
Yeah.
And I just started telling my story about how I quit my job and, you know, I needed a break and how my mom was sick and people were listening. So, well, you know, sometimes when you have a lot like built up inside and you have to get it out, you need people to talk to. And sometimes even your closest friends and family like don't even understand. So I'm got the phone like this, talking to strangers.
Right.
And then one day I was like, I can't believe I'm just telling my business to all these people. I don't even know these people.
And she did it with a smile.
And so one day someone just hopped on there and I had mentioned about how I worked in corporate finance and they asked me a question about business. I answered the question. And then some other people started asking questions. And then someone was like, oh, why don't you just do a business topic scope?
You found a lane.
I found a lane.
So
it turned
fell into it.
Yes, it turned into a series of like, okay, well, every Sunday we're going to talk business and every Wednesday we're going to do budgets. And I built my personal brand from there. And this was all free information until I started getting emails and people were like, how do I schedule a one-on-one with you?
Wow.
You're like, oh, I need to get a consultant.
So how many free?
What's your website? What's your blog? I didn't have a blog, a mailing list. Yeah, I didn't have, anything to capture these content. And I was like, well, maybe I need this stuff.
So how much advice you think you gave out for free before you realized I can make some money off that?
Maybe about 4 months of free live streams.
I should have caught you.
A few hundred videos. There's a few hundred videos in my arsenal. And then I started building out a mailing list and I didn't know how to get a website. I couldn't afford to pay someone to do my website because my money was running out. I was like, I can't pay. I'm just going to learn it. So I did Wix. Mm-hmm. I eventually taught myself WordPress and then incorporated everything like for MailChimp. And so I was learning everything on my own. And then I started to hire people slowly. But it was like survival mode. Learn it first, then delegate the task. And then it turned into growing into the weekly series to collaborating with other people online to a workbook. So I have the workbook here. So it's like the brand is like turned into balling on a budget. And this was like all from a Wednesday morning. And I'm like, all right, every Wednesday we gonna ball on a budget. We're gonna talk about how we save money.
We're gonna shout out this,
balling on a budget.
Balling on a budget.
Balling
Smart
on a budget.
Money Moves to Enhance Your Savings by Angel Radcliffe.
So it turned into from a weekly series to, I'm gonna turn this into a workbook. To where there's T-shirts, there's buttons, it's an entire brand.
Oh, she brought it all.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's an entire brand, and then it turned into, as I said, working with other people, and people are like, "Oh, well, where can I book you to speak?" Oh, I don't know.
No, but the thing is, you figuring it out as you go.
I did.
You didn't realize how big of a industry this was. Like the potential sometimes has to hit you upside the head.
It does, and so after a while, I was like, "Oh, I've done all this in like 1 year from quitting my job, literally 1 year. I had, the workbook. I had another book that I worked with other entrepreneurs to collaborate. That was releasing. I had tons of webinars I was hosting online, and I was making more money online from webinars than I was in my previous job. And I was like, is this real life? Like, I was like, so I have all this knowledge, and sometimes we give out knowledge for free. Now, sometimes you can give out knowledge for free, but sometimes you got to charge for it.
All right.
We are in a capitalist country.
Did anybody ever come for you when you started charging? You know how when you go from free to charge, and us.
Oh, they did.
Hey, you rise to the top when you get to a certain level. All right, you get to that certain level. Now they want to tear you back down.
So, they feel a way about you starting to charge them.
Oh, I would get comments like, oh, I could find this on Google. Well, Google it then. But it's like anything you can find on Google. Like
you're paying for the convenience.
Yes, you're paying to have someone like personally there talking to you. But it's like anything that we have in this thing world, you can learn online. And so people were like tearing me down, like, why would I pay for this when I can just go online? Okay, well, go online. That's your choice. Like,
sometimes you need somebody to break shit down for you, though.
Of course, especially when you can just go and retain something in one space. Like, you got to think, that's why I feel like I look at it as an audio book. I can ride around with it. I don't have to be tied and locked down to me actually going through the pages. I look at that as that's why you go to someone to actually break down the tools for you, what you need. Like, curtail the information for you to where you're not having to go and look at all this this
and I'm glad you brought that up, man, because we was talking outside, me and Angel, and she was just talking about sometimes we devalue ourselves. And you said something that really key. When we was growing up, like, I got a buddy, we call him Moyo. He can read, he has 5 books that he reads at one time. Like, I don't read one. I can read 5 books at one time. His mother is an educator. His dad is an educator. It was like his practice. Where I grew up listening a lot. I was a visual and listening. So when I got in school in English, it was boring to me. Like, I love math. Like, it was like, but I didn't like putting words together. So it was like, all right, I read enough to understand the gist of it. And when podcasts and audio, like, stuff that really made sense outside of just music, and I got attached to it, it was like, man, I'm learning again. It was like, I'm learning this, and I say I'm learning this, and people are like, how you know? Because I heard it. They were like, well, man, you need to read a book. But what I want to get at is, it don't matter how we consume the knowledge.
Just get it.
Your brain is a bank. Like, if you can get it and consume it and practice and apply it, that's the end result, right? Like, it don't matter if right now, if you had an audio book and I can listen to this in 45 minutes and keep listening to it every day to sink in. I mean, that's your end result. You want people to get better, right? And I think sometimes we kind of devalue ourselves with that. Like, you need to read the book.
We're in a microwave society.
Yeah. And everybody learns different, though.
That's what I mean.
Everybody learns stuff completely different. Some people pick up stuff way faster than other people do. But oftentimes, it's not the most intelligent person who is the most successful person. Because, like, it's another side to just being intelligent. Being intelligent is one thing, but having the ethic to do what you want to do and see it from one part to the next part until you get to where you want to go, that's completely different. And that takes a little bit more than intelligence, you know what I'm saying?
You know what I think, though? Because I feel like based on the banking, piggybacking off of your intelligence thing, I think a lot of us have the intelligence. We have the know-how as far as how to apply things. And because we've always been like survivors. We've always been people who can make something out of nothing. I think the biggest thing is we get so used to struggling. Like, say, for instance, somebody lives check to check, but they get, my mom, I look at my mom, when we were growing up, my mom lived check to check. But the thing is, she got so used to it. Yeah. So when she got some extra, she went and spent it because she didn't know, like, okay, let me put this up. We didn't give ourselves that relief because we just worked better under pressure. Like, I'm going to figure it out. But when you struggle, like, that's why I don't really get as mad anymore when I see, like, young rappers or athletes or entertainers go and get all of this flashy stuff, because I know, like, they unfortunately they have that ingrained in them. It's like, I've been struggling so long, as soon as I get a little bit, I'm gonna show y'all.
I'm not mad at them. I'm mad at the curators behind them.
And that's what I was gonna say. It's like we don't realize, like we think that's acceptable because it's like I ain't never had anything. You know what I'm saying? We lean on the fact that we never had it.
I mean, I think for them though, it's a thin line though, cause they can't be looking bummy and then be rapping and actually achieve.
But unfortunately though,
know?
we always look at somebody what they have on the outside and to give them work.
But that's part of a rap image though.
But that's the unfortunate part though, because us as people think of it like this: Post Malone. Look at Post Malone. Post Malone got more bread than your average black rapper, right?
Yeah.
But he doesn't have to look like I have money to get accepted.
I mean, but you got J. Cole though. I mean,
J. Cole, he didn't come out that way.
Yeah, that's true.
J. Cole had to pretty much prove himself as a sustainable artist before you had to realize like he doesn't have to have a flag.
Like once we respected his bars, he was like, I ain't even got to dress up.
Because I heard Yella Beezy say in the interview, people didn't start taking me seriously till I started having the bling, the chains, and so it's kind of hard to curate something sustainable behind the scenes because you're putting your money to the flash before you're putting your money to the substance. Because I have to get you to look at me as somebody of worth, and I feel like that's it. Unfortunately, that's us.
But if you ain't got the bars, though, if you ain't got the
Right.
bars, you got to do something.
But the thing, or think of it like this: okay, when the Jordans came out in school,
Right.
if you had the Jordans when you came to school, people looked at you, talked to you, handed you gifts.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So you figure like, I gotta get this feeling again. So the next J's, I don't care if my mama can't afford them, I'm gonna figure it out. I gotta have them. Because I know my mom, I had a young mom. My mom used to get me up in the morning when the shoes was dropping. We'd go to the mall and I get them at 6 in the morning and wear them to school. The first day they drop. I had the most pride I ever had, but it's just a fucking shoe. But you get what I'm saying?
I feel you.
But I put my pride on a shoe, on a brand.
Because our society thrives on image. So relate this to corporate America, right? So no matter what type of job you have, my mom always instilled into me, dress for the job you want. So if you in customer service, like walk in there like you an executive.
Right.
My first job was in a call center. I was like dressing like I was somebody important.
Right. So
week?
Did you get anybody that kind of like gave you a side eye?
Yes,
like,
people all the time like, oh, why you dressed up? I'm like, this is work. You're supposed to dress up. Like, that was always my response. And so even now, in just sidebar from like the quit the job and brand, like I ended up going back to corporate. I'm an IT consultant now, and I manage my business and brand as well. But going back in, I always wear a blazer, and I've always like had this thing about dressing professionally no matter what I'm doing. And in some roles, I walk in and I'm more dressed than someone who's more senior than me.
Right.
And then since our society thrives on image, I'm more respected.
Right.
Or the client may look at me and they think that I'm somebody important and I'm not.
You are.
But it's the perception.
Exactly.
So, for instance, we had someone come in and they were looking for the senior manager, and then they just automatically looked at me. I had on a dress, had on a blazer. Like, I need to talk to you. Oh, you do. And the conversation went from there, just building a new network because of the way that I was dressed, the way that I presented myself. And I always tell people, your image is everything. You don't have to spend a lot of money to look good or present yourself well.
And I'm glad you said that, Angel, because to go back to what you were saying about rappers, where my gut bothers me about where we are in the rap game is what you said about what Yella Beezy said. He doesn't necessarily have to do that. Flim said it. You got to have the art of rapping is rapping. I mean, like I keep stressing, like it's a young cat.
Think of it like this though. You got to break it down. So if you see J. Cole before J. Cole was J. Cole. If J. Cole got on your television on BT dressed like he is now.
Yeah.
He actually was dressed like he wasn't dressed like that. He was dressed younger like that.
He was no. They have a picture.
Nah.
They have a meme.
I remember J. Cole like
they have a meme when he was at the
BET
BET Awards. He had a Versace sweater on that three other people had on.
You mustn't see him doing Friday Night Lights. The be prior to that one.
That's what I'm
when
saying.
him and old dude had the same sweater on.
Yeah.
No, before then he had a T-shirt. He was a college student.
That's how he came out, but he never got over that hump. Is what I'm saying.
He got over that.
No,
dude don't straight bomb now though.
Like now I'm talking about now. It's like I'm talking about now. I can't.
Marcus, let me break it down to you. I'm about to tell you. You remember, girl? What's that song? Work Out For Me.
Yeah.
That was his. He hated that song. You remember he said he hated that song.
song.
He started pretty much dumbing himself down because I like, how can I get to the pop audience? How can I? Because you got to think he came in with Drake.
But his music, not his style though.
So you saying he had a strategy to his shit?
No, he had to strategize.
You got to think he was signed to Jay-Z. Okay, Jay-Z, and they'll tell you the story. Jay-Z kept saying, "We need that radio record. We need that radio record." So when you need a radio record, I'm also about to make you a package. You get what I'm saying?
Go with the radio record.
To go with the radio record,
Right.
I gotta send you to 106 in Park. You gotta have what the kids want to see.
Right.
And so unfortunately, that's why you gotta think. That's why it's cool for him and Kendrick Lamar now to be their own way. And I love that the game has those layers because I get tired of every person looking like the same.
Totally
type.
agree.
A whole bunch of jewelry, a lot of tattoos, colorful hair, and a good
double
beats.
cupped up.
But-
I'm like, give me some variety. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's hard to capture the everyday man when you look like the everyday man.
Yeah.
Because I look at it like this: they want to see somebody who shines.
Hey, but I give credit for allowing that shit to happen.
What?
Kanye West allowed all that shit to happen. Like I'm just a casual guy. Look at me in my backpack and I rap too type shit.
And he basically made it cool to be a normal
he did
guy.
all
And
that.
that's why I spoke
He did
to
it
that.
though.
Because we've always paid more attention to how we look versus what we have. You get what I'm saying? And that's why I really wanted to kind of talk about is like I feel like you got to think back in the days, when. All right, think of it like, do you ever watch the Malcolm X movie?
Nah.
You
never watched with Denzel Washington, bro?
Oh shit!
No.
You see all these eyes.
Hold on.
Hey, this is shame right here. We projecting on.
You got homework this weekend.
Hold on. My tone came off different. Yes, I watched the Malcolm X movie, but those other movies, those type of movies are so deep and so sad to me.
You hate to watch them.
I watched it one time.
Okay, I feel
Yeah, I feel
one
you on that,
time.
though.
Like it ain't nothing. It's nothing that I'm gonna sit back and if I have a child, yeah, we'll watch it again. But it's nothing I need to watch again. I mean, I watched him transform, and then I watch his own people kill him.
But that's why I wanted to talk about that because you remember he went and got that zoo suit. He had just got out of jail. He got the perm.
Yeah, that burn.
And he felt like he had just moved up to New York to Harlem, and he felt like the first bit of money I gotta go and get some clothes.
Yeah.
I gotta go and basically make myself look like something I'm not. And it's like, why? Because I remember going to school, and the white kids would have like Asics. This is before I knew how expensive Asics were. And they'll be run down. They have New Balance. They'll be run down. And we coming with fresh J's, fresh Forces. You can see we get new shoes every month, every 2 months. And these kids went, same shoes. Then you go to they cribs. It's like, what the
hell yeah.
You go home, look at your mama like.
I'm like, wait, hold up.
You don't feel
I'm
this,
like,
mama.
I'm like, hold up.
Why, mama? Why?
No, I really went through a phase where I was mad at my mom because we didn't live like that. And
See, that's what I'm saying.
Because when you expose a child to more, and he goes back and sees like this ain't the same as theirs. Like I remember LeBron said, I didn't know what a pantry was, so I went over. I didn't know that people actually. I remember growing up. You remember your mom would tell you, "Don't have them kids in my house eating all my goddamn food." Be mad about that. My white friends, they literally bought food for us. Like, this is for y'all and all y'all, 10, 12, however many it is.
But to really just go on that, and we can probably go back, like, you got to go 60, 70, 80s, and you remember, people, like, before your time, it was a recession in the 80s. It was a recession that damaged us just like in 05, 04, 06. Include the crack epidemic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was catered for other cultures to get rich where, we were still struggling. Like, even when we was on the rise, like, you can go back, even when we was on the rise,
we still got taken advantage of.
We still got taken advantage of in more ways than one. So your mother didn't want you to be laughed at, or she wanted, if it was something to her, she didn't know. Did she
Yeah.
really
My
know?
mom would go
This-
broke to
Jordan,
get us
listen,
clothes.
Jordan came out in 80. The first Jordan came out with 84, 85.
Yeah.
Did she really know what a Jordan? She just
No,
heard
my-
about a Jordan and Nintendo. This gonna make my
no,
son
I
happy.
had no. My mom was
My
16
mother.
when she
No,
had
I'm
me.
just saying.
I
My
had
mother,
a young mom.
My mom.
So she knew
During
all
the
that
time
stuff. Like
in 88, 89, and it was heavy in the crack epidemic, and where it was like, and I mean, we come from Arkansas, and I'm coming from a city where people from Cali used to just, you know, you get kicked out of Cali, you gonna bring a bag back to your hometown, and you can take a whole kilo of dope and affect the whole city. So this city got affected, and my mom and my grandmother was like, man, I don't really want you going outside. So they bought me a Nintendo. They bought me a Sega Genesis. I had the Sega CD. I had the Super Nintendo. I had all the way up to the PlayStation, because they didn't want me to go outside and have an idle mind outside to play with guns. They was like, no, we'll keep you inside, you know what I'm saying, and you can do that. But it was just more about protecting the next generation during that time of where it was really dangerous, you know? And that's what we got to look at. I know you probably feel like it is. You go somewhere and you see like, dang, how they getting on top. How we don't have that. Like, why we didn't, my mother didn't think like that.
I don't really look at, no, at the time I did. But, you know, I got to realize I had a teenage mom. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's not only, okay, of course, there's always like these things that have kept minorities back from moving forward as far as being wealthy. One being the knowledge, because I hate to say it, but like most white people are not going to come and tell you how to get wealthy.
Right.
And then when people who are minorities find out, they don't want to share that information,
Right.
because it's like
Crab in a barrel.
crabs in a
Why?
barrel, right?
Man,
And so
Because it's because we feel like it's going to be few and far between.
mhm.
And so we can't share because we don't want to miss out on our blessing trying
Yep.
to get you yours.
So look at it like when these minorities get into these executive roles or the high power positions in the company, sometimes they won't even refer you to work at their company because they feel like they need to be the only one who has the light shining on them, or when they're learning about what they should do with their credit or their money. Most of the time, they don't even tell their family members.
Right.
And so it just boils back down to generationally being financially illiterate. And when we talk about statistics, right, let's talk about more than 70% of people in the United States don't have a budget. And those same people, I'm not necessarily saying the same people, but that same percentage of people don't have $1,000 in the bank in savings for an emergency. So that's like if your car breaks down, you have a funeral, and that's how people get trapped into like the payday loans and the predatory lending. So
I made that mistake about 8 years ago.
You did a payday loan?
Man, I was trying to get somebody out of jail.
Oh, so you did a payday loan to get somebody out of jail?
I was like
400% interest.
I was 23, man. I remember that shit,
So-
man. I got like 500 out. They was like, you owe us 17. I'm like, wait,
Damn.
what? Huh? Like, what?
Dave
Then-
Chappelle.
No, so I went in there, I gave them a check. You know, you got to give them a check. So I'm thinking they not really going to debit it. You know what I'm saying? So I just started screening the calls when they was like, hey, you know, you need to make a payment.
and they tried to take the money out your account.
I woke up, but my account was like negative
Damn.
$1,200.
They
I'm
just
like,
hit
what?
you.
Like, they were like, we need that. So that was like the first and last time I ever got into that, but we fall victim to that. So now you didn't got to pay their loan, because I know I have family members where you're paying literally half of your paycheck to pay their loans.
Right.
Yeah.
Just trying to get caught up.
Mhm.
So you're never going to get caught up because you're trying to catch up and the bills are steady coming.
And if you look at communities that are diverse, what do you see on all these different corners besides a Walgreens? You see
Liquor store and
checking
payday
and
loan.
cash, payday loan places. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's like they're everywhere. And so they set up shop in these communities because they know most minorities are not educated enough to know I shouldn't get this, or there's another way for me to get money. Even, you know, putting something on a credit card for a short term is less interest than a payday loan or a checking line of credit. A lot of people don't even know about a checking line of credit.
Man, I tell y'all something that's worse than payday loans that I think personally.
What?
Car loans. Car loans.
No.
No,
'Cause
look,
car loan
no.
is feasible.
Because it's a setup. It's a setup because niggas always going to get that car that's like one step above what they really should be paying for. You know what I'm saying? So if you probably got ultimate money, you going to buy your maximum.
You know what I'm
what
saying?
I'm
They
saying?
gonna get that baby Benz.
Let me tell you what's wrong with our culture. And I try to tell people this because I was in the cars. If you have And shout out, we got another guest in here.
He
we
quiet.
got, I know he's quiet. He's classified right now.
I'm just catching up.
But this is something that I learned from him and we learned from each other because I was in the car business one way, he was in the car business always another way. People will pay all this money for a good car, right? As soon as they pay it off, they think they're going to go trade it in and get the same note. And where it's nothing wrong with that car. You ride it 90,000 miles. It's clean. You can drive it for another 2-3 years.
But it ain't that new shit.
But even listen, this is what I have to tell people. I was like, okay, if you go in there with this car right here that you done had, and it's either a Nissan, Toyota, or Honda, I was like, the max they may give you $5,000. That's like 20. That's like 20. Just subtract $20 per payment per thousand. So you know what I'm saying? So you can go in zero down, pay a little bit more, and if something happen medically or something happen, you got this car right here to still get you back and forth. You know what? I done preached to the choir with it, and they still like, nah, they're mentally put in their head, nah, you just messing up. I had something wrong with it, something wrong with it, and I just traded in, and he made me a good deal. And what bothers me is black people will do it to black. You walk into another salesman, and he don't even try to coach you on that. He just took your shit.
Because, nigga, I got to pay bills.
Exactly. He trying to get that commission. He like, fuck that.
I think it goes back to what Angel said. You go out and you buy that car, right?
Yeah.
But you ain't really set yourself up to if something happens. So you like the easiest thing for me to do is just trade it in and get something new.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's just as simple
I
as
got
that.
a homeboy got a
options,
7045 like that.
And what's crazy is I, to go back to your story about your mom. What's crazy is that now this younger generation has more access than we did. When I was coming up, I'm an 80s baby. Mm-hmm. I had no idea about credit in college, and now they got all these resources. Credit wasn't even important then.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, credit. If you ain't got credit, you might as well be you through.
Right.
Yep.
You out of there.
You living on cash.
So it's just about generational things and how people come up and things like that. But yeah, good point though. Good point around saving up, keeping money. Everybody can't be rich.
Because
like
we
Marcus.
never understood. I'm like, my
everybody
grandma,
can't be rich like
my
Mr.
grandma has been
Mr.
on a fixed income. What you say? I was just thinking, like, I feel like it skipped a generation. Because my grandma has always been on a fixed income. Never made a lot of money. She made less than my aunt, my grandmother, me. But we always asking her for money. Like,
man, but
that is true.
You right, and it's crazy.
Like, where's she coming from? She tired of
I mean, but
that.
some people just
your granddad.
Angel and Flim, sometimes I wish we had a whiteboard in here to draw stuff out. Because 60, I just said 60s, 70s, 80s, early 90s, they damaged, like, that was a big gap of how they damaged our culture. Like, you're right. My grandmother right now is the only homeowner I know straight up. She bought her house in pot liquor for $15,000. She said, "Mama."
Pot liquor.
She said, "Yeah, pot liquor, pot liquor,
Pot liquor, Arkansas.
pot liquor, Arkansas, baby." Hey, matter of fact,
you do got to take into consideration your grandparents had 50, 60 years to figure it out, and then by the time you get to them,
but product. We ain't seen it 31.
Exactly.
That's one benefit of like getting married early and just starting it early because it's two incomes. It's finna go
And
for
we
like
gonna make this shit work.
No. My grandmother lost her husband and my mom when she was 7. Ironically, I lost my father when I was 7. But she was just saying, she said her mortgage payment was $36, and what she did was she just the $36 a month she paid, and she said listen, I didn't even know until about 5 years ago that she had her mortgage paid off since like 1955.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She was like, yeah, my mortgage
grandma's house
been
paid off too.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
My
And
folks, they own they shit.
Mine too.
I mean,
That's a
you know what I'm
beautiful
saying?
feeling, man.
And then, like, my mother was like, when I was applying for college, she's like, "Man, I don't know nothing about these student loans. I didn't have no student loans. I didn't need none of this." But she couldn't tell me how to get, like, she just wanted me to go to college. I didn't want to go to college. I just wanted to go work at Union Pacific or Energy and just make that money. I was on a plan mental. I'll go to the military. I was like, if I do this about 10, 20 years, I can go back to college and do whatever. But she was just adamant on me getting an education, which I really I really respect that. You know, I don't respect these fucking student
Hey,
loans.
one thing I say about
Shit.
I say about college, man. Like you remember, like it's just college, just like saying like singing a song in church. You know what I'm saying? College ain't for everybody.
Right.
It ain't.
But if somebody say, man, you know what, I'm going to college, everybody, it's good. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you can be like, hey, bro, you sure you want to do that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like some people, it's just not a good investment.
You not finna make it, bro.
Yeah.
No, that's why I get pissed off though. Like when dudes, especially athletes, when we get full scholarships to these prestigious universities and we actually start we go and do something like physical studies or some shit like that. I'm like, bro, you didn't even take advantage. You know what I'm saying? Like you got a fucking major you can't do shit with.
At our school, what, general studies?
General studies, cause no, but
Like,
unfortunately,
Angel, general studies.
Speaking as but unfortunately, speaking as an athlete, a college athlete, when I got to school, and they hooked us up with our academic advisors, and they asked me, "What did you want to major in?" I told her finance, and she looked at me. This was like I was at West Point, so West Point they pushed me academically, but when I got to Louisiana Tech, and I was like, I want to major in finance.
West Point, like the Army school?
Yeah.
Wow.
But so that's why it was a rude awakening when I left there and went to Louisiana Tech, because you're going from like a school where you're being pushed academically to where now you're an athlete and a student second. So I was like, yeah. So she was like, what are you majoring in? I was like, I took a track in economics. They didn't have economics. I'm like, I want to major in finance. And she looked at me and was like, you sure you want to do that? I was like, yep. Mind you, I'm like 20 years old, so I can easily be manipulated now.
Yeah.
Because you're the professional. He's like, well, you got to stay eligible, and you want to make sure you don't have any classes that would, intercede with.
So this wasn't even a coach or nothing like this. This the lady.
This is the academic advisor. This is the person that pretty much. But the coach is sending the message like, keep my players eligible, because you got to think also coaches get bonuses for when they graduate a certain amount of players. Yeah. So if you graduate 85% of your players, you get a bonus. How can you graduate 85% when you got niggas on the team that can't read? You get what I'm saying? Like at Florida State, that's just like they would make sure they would state that you had a learning disability so you can get one-on-one correspondence.
Wow.
I mean, I thought
you
that
take
all of them
online
had
courses.
that.
A lot of big schools you take online courses. It's like we used to be in study hall and they'll actually sit there and it's like they'll give us a cheat sheet for the test. Like pretty much,
for real?
This is where you can find the answer. Just study this. Like, so now you're not even learning how to study. You're just basically getting the cheat sheet. And it's like, this is what you need to know.
And you know what? As a student athlete, I was watching something, and where they doing now is like some schools give their student athlete like a team to work with.
I had Team Johnson at West Point.
I'll
break it down to you.
What I'm saying is like you may have a dude that's making sure he taking every notes from every your classes, and then you got somebody else that may be writing your reports. But he's the specimen. He's on the campus, and which to me, in this new world we're going to in collaborative environment, it kind of makes sense because guess what? If that whole team, let's say he goes to the NFL and they did it, one did the reports, one did the presentations, one did the notes. Guess who he gonna think about when he go into these Nike offices?
Marcus, no.
He's like, nah, that isn't how it works.
I'm gonna tell you this not how it works, bro. So when I was at West Point, when I went on my recruiting visit, you got to break it down from how they sell you on the place. So they were selling me like this number one some years academic institution in the country. So I'm thinking like, damn, it's hard. I had a 2.3 GPA leaving high school, not because I didn't know how to do the work, because I didn't want to. I had a high SAT score.
Yeah.
So I'm already not applicable to get into West Point. I can't get on my own merit. So they pull some strings, get me in there. So I've taken the spot of somebody who's actually qualified. They only have so many spots.
And
they
Did you feel bad about that?
No, because they leave a certain amount of spots for recruited athletes.
Yeah.
So when you get there, they tell you pretty much, we're going to get you through here. We're going to make it work. So my first semester, I bombed. GPA was like a 0.7. You know what I'm saying? Like horrible. And he was like, so they got me tutors for every class. And they would meet in my class. They would meet in my dorm on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays to pretty much plan out my week. Thursdays to see what I did for that week, because normally Thursday you kind of getting ready for the game. On Friday you travel, things like that. So it's like I had my whole week planned out.
So they had a whole team.
I had a
just for
whole
you.
team for every class.
Wow.
And so it was this guy named Gordy. He was, because at West Point they actually have some guys who were already enlisted who were just exemplary soldiers, and they felt like they were off for some material. So he had already been deployed and all of that. Guy about 23, 24. He was one of my tutors. I ain't never had nobody go off on me like that, because he was like, "What the fuck, dude?" I'm like, "What's going on?" Because I'm just sitting there like I'm 19 years old, arrogant, feeling like, yeah, I got that. Because that's what I was sold on. Like, just come and play ball. And he was like, "Do you not realize what you're doing?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" "You're fucking off a perfect opportunity." He was like, "Do you know what I did to get here?" And he was like, "Do you realize that I'm having to do all of this shit by myself and help you?" And I was like, man, like, but then it was kind of eye-opener a year later when I left there and I got to Louisiana Tech, and I was like, so now I'm the guy that's like taking my academics serious, and it's a dude next to me like fucking off, and I'm like, I was that dude. And I say all that to say, a lot of times we allow ourselves to be cheapened, where it's like your talent, you allow somebody to take your talent, but you don't take advantage of the gift that they're giving you. I always say a college scholarship is a contract. You want something from me, and I'm gonna get something from you. And that's why I always get frustrated when you allow them to basically use up your abilities without actually taking advantage of the opportunity. And I feel like that's one of the biggest things with black athletes. I mean, because it's like every major school, like imagine if you go to UT. Can you imagine a network of UT or Texas A&M?
Well, you see the brothers that do go there take advantage of it. Like,
not all of them. Because I know a couple guys that went to both schools.
I know ones that messed. I'm looking at the ones that didn't care about the NFL and go back to Austin. Like, you can go down there now and see Vince Young. Cedric Benson is a real estate agent.
But think of it like this: you get access,
and he wasn't nothing in Chicago. Like, he was.
I mean, he was in the NFL for a while.
He was in the NFL a while. Like, he was in there like 8
But he
years.
was a nut case. Considered a nut case.
But that's the perfect example. What happens is you got some guys, and I saw it in both schools, where like they realize like I have access to people that I would normally not have access to.
Yep.
Some people want to be a part of the crowd and still be on their fuck off shit, but you got some people who actually gonna try to go and show up to the camps, go and shake the hands, kiss the babies, give some facial recognition too, because I know you're gonna be the person that can get me in the door when I leave here.
Man, when I think about that sometimes, guys, I went to the U of A, then I went to UAPB.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I saw dual. You know what I'm saying? I saw like the
two different extremes.
Like like the real like prestigious university. Like, this is what we want you to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw,
like
the yard.
The yard.
I saw the yard. You know what I'm saying? But the thing about that is, like, it's real hard. Like, I knew I could be at the University of Arkansas if I acted a certain type of way. If I did a certain thing. You know what I'm saying? Them motherfuckers gonna take care of you.
Right.
But do you really want to be that person though? You know what I'm saying? Because at some point, like I just don't want to come out. Like, I got to the point where I ain't want to come outside and see nothing but white people. You know what I'm saying? Like some white people cool. But I remember like the first game I went to. I'm coming from Forest City, Arkansas. Forest City, Arkansas, population about 13,000, right?
Okay.
I went to high school there, you know what I'm saying? I go to U of A. I go to a game. It's 60,000 white folks at this game. I came from a city where it's 13,000 people.
Yeah.
It's 60,000 white folks at this motherfucking game right
You
here.
getting anxiety.
I was like, whoa. It's white folks in Forest City too, but shit. There's a lot of white people.
You too close.
Yeah. But at some point though, as you go through that situation and you start to realize where this is going to make you end up, you kind of want to be like, okay, I want to be a little bit more rooted, like, because money ain't everything. You know what I'm saying? I can get a corporate job, and I know right now I can go put on a suit and go get a new job and be a different person. Personally, as far as like what I'm responsible for every day, who I mingle with every day, and and then that shit can be real lucrative. But at the same time, though, Like I have to let a lot of shit I love go for that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So it's always a balance. You know what I'm saying? That's why I asked her what made her want to just leap out. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a lot that goes into just saying, okay, I'm gonna take it all on my own. Or I'm finna change the whole way I live as far as my life. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna leave this comfortable position to go do something completely different, completely unknown, and I don't know what that outcome gonna be. You know,
I feel you.
That shit's scary as hell. You know what I'm saying? I done it a couple times, but each time as you get older, it's a little harder to do that shit each time.
I'm gonna say this, and if you can pass this knowledge to, like, I'm pretty sure other people in our culture feel just what you felt. Honestly, I kind of feel opposite. Like when I was at a white school my first year, it felt good to see people sitting under the trees and Indian style with their blankets. And then I transferred back. I saw that old school Capri sitting on the 24 B. I was like, fuck. I was like, damn.
I kind of like that better.
But no, my point is, a lot of our culture feel that way. But being in Dallas, being here, and you see this is a capitalist city where, like, other countries, other nationalities come here and take the opportunity. Our culture just keep getting pushed, like keep getting pushed down, and it's nothing. It's like you see it in corporate America, you see it on entrepreneurship. The whites that's at the top, they don't really care because they already stable.
But you don't need the whole bag.
But no. It ain't about having the whole bag. It's about teaching them how to work with other countries, because that's the way of the world's going.
I'm gonna tell
that's
you what,
the way of the world.
It's the generation behind. It's it's the person you work for. Kids that are the ones that are gonna get it. You got to think they've grown up in a flat world. Think of it like this.
I don't know. Say flat world. What you mean?
Basically, like social
like
media.
Kyrie Irving just said, it ain't a world flat no more. You know,
because social media has made the world very, very small. It's like I can see what's going on in Germany. I can see what's going on in other. I can see what's going on in other settings. You know what I mean? Like I look at it like this.
Well, maybe let me just say this. I'm trying to get at what I'm saying is we have our internal issues that we need to like work on our infrastructure to stay relevant to where this race is going. Like we gotta stay relevant.
You making a point, but you were saying like when are they gonna get it? And I feel like
no, not now when they gonna get it. We just need to work on our infrastructure because the other cultures and nationalities is coming. They don't care because they doing it. They concerned about their owners too. I mean the Indians are concerned about their. Hold on. What's the rate? I don't want to be the people from India because I can't say Indians. So the people from India, they don't care. Like literally, I work with them. They compassionate when they shake their hand, but when it come down to spread knowledge and they know if it's gonna be enough to get you that extra step, they gonna hold back because they want to give it to their own. It's how they build.
Hey, bro, but
it's not just people from India. It's certain cultures cultivate their people. Yeah. So Asian people do it. Yes. You look at their culture, right? I think the downfall is like with black people because black people don't really like cultivate their culture with sharing the knowledge, but you see white people are doing it, and I think it's just something that digs down generationally.
You feel like it's not enough.
Wow.
No, but hold on though, but knowledge is looked at a lot different in the black culture than here. Okay, so just check this: if you smart in school, like growing up, being smart ain't getting you no pussy.
Yeah.
Never in life.
What?
No, not in high school.
Hold on. That's what I was saying. Being smart ain't gonna get you no pussy till you about 28, 29. Right. And bitch start looking at it like, damn.
Like she done got beat down by a bunch of dumb niggas.
Yeah, she be like, well, he kind of smart. He might finna go somewhere. He ain't gonna get you no pussy until the end, bro. So it's a long road to hoe, bro. so smart nigga out there. I'm talking to you right now. Smart nigga. Wait till you about 28. 28, you gonna be on.
Huh? Boss up on these 27, 28.
Maybe I'm lost. I thought, what they got to do with what she was talking about cultivating?
No, we talking about
because
knowledge.
He's going back to the fact it's not cool.
Yeah, it's not cool to be smart.
Like growing up, it's not cool to be enlightened.
Yeah.
Because it's not I can't be popular if I got a 4.0. Unfortunately, like we're
Yeah,
the only
yeah.
culture where like if you actually go and do what you got to do. No, I'm not talking about your parents and they.
No, bro, I don't know what you.
I
mean.
went to a school.
I stayed in advanced classes because that's where the chicks was.
No,
I
went to a school with 4,600 students. So I had 1,000 people in my graduating class.
But
But
you know what? We gotta like you say.
Nah,
we gotta wrap it up.
Yeah, but I just gotta say this one thing. Like you was talking about Indians.
I was talking about people from India.
Yeah, people from India. My bad. People from India. My bad. They will see a smart dude. He gonna put his daughter on him for real. Like they thinking about that shit in high school. They like, hey, that boy gonna be something. He gonna put his daughter on.
What you saying? Like
you know what I'm
cultivating,
saying?
right?
She gonna be at all the parties. You know what I'm saying?
But that's what it's like. They already kind of predetermined. Like, all right, he's smart. We need to cultivate.
Hey, but
our culture.
black people don't do that.
We don't do that.
Black people not gonna do that.
No. I totally. That's already been like over the decades. We see that. Now it's time for us to figure out how we need to change, and that's one thing why, I wanted Angel to come in because she give free literacy. That's like steps of us cultivating our culture. Like she gives out all this information. Just hey, this is what you can do. Balling on a budget. This is a simple step, guys. Hopefully this turns into more of an audio book so I can listen to it over and over
Well,
again.
it's a workbook, so it won't be an audio book. So you work through it. So it's like preparing your budget on paper and then you turn it into
and these
an
are small
budget.
steps.
So,
These are small steps of how to get us to cultivate our culture to stay relevant with other races.
Okay, Angel, be real. Was you checking for the smart dude like in 12th grade?
This guy.
I was just
No comment. No comment.
We need a comment.
You looking for the
We need a comment.
You looking for the roughneck. Hey, I wanted to ask
We
you.
need a comment.
But you know what? No, like for real, I dated a few nerds, but I was a nerd myself.
Okay.
Like I was always like the person like really smart at math.
You dated
like,
him for how long, and then you went to the roughneck?
But you was looking at the roughneck like I want to know what that like.
I was.
I didn't say you dated.
What's the old saying? Opposites attract.
She should be a politician, cause I said who was you checking for? She talking about who she was
I
dating.
dated. I'm telling you, who did you want to fuck with?
That was
but you was
opposite
like,
order.
nah, I can't go out like that.
Well, I was. People remember me as like the nerd in high school. Like I sat by myself at the lunch table. Like I went to every class when everybody else was ditching class. They was like, she actually do her homework. Like,
Hey, you got that answer? Hey.
What
comment.
year did you graduate?
ooh,
2000.
no comment.
So
No
you,
high school.
So you wasn't.
no comment.
So what you? Okay. So
Hey,
what
she
you?
acted
So,
like a politician.
okay. So you wasn't
under
popping in high
scandal.
school. What you saying?
I had my own crew, but it
You
wasn't
had-
like the mainstream girls that was like going out doing all this ratchet, But,
Oh, okay.
Man, I ain't gonna lie, man. We've been in here a while.
Yeah, it's a minute.
But I will say this. Angel, first before we get out of here,
Where they can find you
you
at?
gotta let us know where they can find you, where they can get your books, your product, things like that.
Yeah.
So I'm on all social media as Miss RMBA, MISSRMBA. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Gosh, I don't know. Periscope. I don't even do Periscope.
You don't do it no more. I check.
But-
You was
It's not even
you
around
was the only
anymore.
person I follow, and every now and then I just get bored because we in the social media area. Go through your apps. I'm like, dang, ain't you? I'm looking at some old stuff.
Somebody on
Periscope ain't
looking for you
popping no
right
more.
now.
But I did get on there the other day, and I was like, dang, nobody's on. Everybody's doing Instagram Live,
Yeah.
Facebook Live. But you can find the books on Amazon. So if you just search my name, Angel Radcliffe, or even Miss RMBA, you search on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, it will come up. My website is missrmba.com, missrmba.com. You can order your autograph book. You can order your Ballin' on a Budget t-shirts. Book me for a speaking engagement workshop.
Got
So
you.
there you go.
Got you. You gonna come back and holler at us one time?
I will. Maybe we'll talk about
You gotta come see
Oh,
us.
here
At the
you
top.
go.
about entrepreneurship more.
You
How
gotta
to actually start a business and
You gotta come see us.
cool.
You gotta come see us in the fourth quarter, like before 2019.
He trying
I
to get
need
his taxes done.
Hey, I need to go into the year with some motivation.
We can talk Texas. We can talk Texas.
All right, man. Well, we out of here, man.
No, this is the boy Antoine, the source.
Man, this your boy Knowledge, man. Keep achieving out here, man. We breed diamonds, not cold.
It's Slim, man.
Peace.
Man, shout out to that boy DJ.
Yeah,
D-Boy Fresh.
You asshole.
Where you at?
You know, Barnes was looking for you today, man. But hey, y'all enjoy yourselves.
Put some
Be safe
juices on
out
that
there.
goddamn Jerry curl, nigga.
Man, more like the Caribbean, Billy Ocean body potent, take a voyage to Atlantis. Selling glass, lean blasted, machinery swing past. Next stop, Bowling Green, blink flash it. Blow my ass off, po they try to harass.